And this is your timing host, Izanne Lewis, talking to you today about the uncertain times we are living in and how we can make them creative and have a different vision. So thank you, Marina, for inviting me on and to host this show. How are you?
Wow, Isan, I'm so excited and so grateful you are back. I know you've been traveling the world. I know you had a divine duty to meditate and focus on what's happening at the time. And now you are ready to share with us amazing news. And I can't wait. And I know our listeners all over the world are just all ears. So over to you, Isan.
Thank you so much, Marina. And to you, my listener. Yes, well, as I'm an astrologer and timing consultant, and I've been doing this work, I think you've heard me say this before, but for nearly 4 decades. I don't know whether you've done a career or had an interest or project for that long, but in a way, it has to be your best friend, to have it walk beside you, to guide you. And when I embraced that idea, it made how I work very much easier, very much easier. And in a world at the moment where there are a lot of divisions, quite a lot of conflicts, it's so important to recognize that we are not isolated or separate. And it's easy to think, well, we are. Loneliness can be a big thing in life for people. But we do live under a common sky. Isn't that a lovely expression, Marina? A common sky.
It's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. Yes.
Yes, a common sky. And when we look up, which we've done since the beginning of time, and we see the beautiful symmetry, the patterns of the planets, the constellations, the harmonics of them, and we know, I think our ancestors just knew intuitively, they could feel it in their bodies in nature. Nowadays, we have the opportunity through science to see where all the connections are. Both ways are beautiful. And there's a lovely expression that in the beginning, God geometrized, and that nature is frozen music. And I think that we are all energy. We are all connected, but nothing stands still. Of course, we all love harmony, but everything has to move. There has to be dynamic balance, not static balance. And as the planets move in their cycles, because astrology really is all about the power of timing. Everything moves, everything changes. And there are times when humanity, and you, my listener, are ready for a bit of a shake-up, a wake-up call when things have got too stuck. And for a while, it may feel we're dropping off the edge of the world. We feel we're in the unknown. And there have been periods of history where this has been very, very true. And I think now we are living in a time when our own growth is being accelerated. Our sense of time is speeding up. And I feel above all, how I see where the planets are at the present time, which are affecting us all, obviously in our own individual charts. They're going to resonate with particular areas of our life. That's my job, to help you to connect with what those areas are and to move forward with them and to heal them. But it's so important that as we're living in uncertain times, embrace and to be tender with uncertainty, to make it a friend, not a foe or enemy. And once we've done that, and this is quite exciting, to bring on that magical creator within us, which doesn't really get enough airing. I think that's very true. We get caught up in our habits and everything, and we only live out perhaps part of our potential. But that magical creator, the gift from the universal intelligence or spirit, is there to be activated and so often comes through. I think we all know that at times of vulnerability and transition. And with that magical creator at work, we actually do step more into a bigger aspect of ourselves. It's like finding a way home to that larger part of us. And what a beautiful feeling that can be. And there's lines from a song, I think it was by the songwriter Leonard Cohen, which went, there's a crack in everything That's where the light gets in. Isn't that a lovely saying?
Wow, Isan, you know, I shared this with you perhaps a while ago. It is the story of the statue of Buddha, you know, the golden statue.
Oh, yeah.
It was a huge statue, and it was made of clay. And they tried back in 1954, in May, I think, they were building a road, and the statue was in a way. So they had to move the statue, and they lifted with some ropes. But because the statue was massive, it's over 3 meters tall and is really, really heavy, the ropes couldn't hold it, and the statue dropped on the ground. So when it dropped on the ground, what happened? Cracked. The clay statue they thought is a clay statue cracked, and the daylight hit the golden version, the real statue, which was hidden inside.
Lovely.
And of course, then they created the temple in Bangkok, and now it's not only a touristic attraction, but created a whole new destination for people, knowing that is the golden statue. And I believe that there is a golden version of each one of us.
Oh,
that's the story of my life, and that's the story of your life. So it's when you have to make the move, when you have to drop all artificial limitations and make that move. And when that crack is going to allow the light to hit your golden version.
Oh, I couldn't have said it better. That's gorgeous. Really gorgeous. Really gorgeous. And there's another little story. I think it's a Chinese parable where there was a man who carried regularly every day 2 pots of water to a destination. And as he walked along, gradually over time, one of the pots developed a crack and the water leaked out of it. And so he got to the other end where he was going, and the pot said to him, "Oh, I'm so sorry, master. I've wasted all this water." And the man smiled and he said, "You know, look at the pathway we've just come along. The plants along the side where your water was leaking has made them blossom and fertilize. Thank you." There's a crack in everything, and that's where the light gets in and where new life appears. So that's another story. Beautiful. When I use the language of astrology, I'm looking at the planetary movements, and the planets were originally called God's wanderers. It's a beautiful expression, that. And every so often, they will highlight areas in society and in our own lives where change is necessary. And it's so important when there's any kind of chaos, again, uncertainty, the fear of the unknown, that we can be centered, find our own centers, what I would call the point of gravity. The planet in question here is Saturn, which we've always called Father Time. To the Romans, Saturn was the god of boundaries, of endings, of taking off rose-colored glasses so we can have reality checks and see things as they really are. And it's kind of the reward we get also when we've been authentic, we've done a job well. And Saturn is a major player, if we want to call it that, in the heavens at the moment. And one of the qualities given to Saturn is gravity, or gravitas, but gravity in the sense of finding that pivot, or its pivot within ourselves in times of uncertainty. Whichever way we find best, which can be through meditation, service, but above all, being in the moment, being present. At times of vulnerability, moving into the future too much or past just doesn't serve us at all, does it? So being able to connect with that inner pivot of gravity, it's almost like a plumb line, or just to see it like a pendulum, which is actually static for a moment within us and not moving. And then knowing, from having dropped anchor, if you like, when to ride the waves again. So my listener, I really would I really would encourage you to get that point of gravity within you going through change at present. The planet Mars, which is all about action, initiative. We've all got a Mars in our charts. It's that red energy. Some of us use it better with strategy. Some like to be much more impulsive, much more the leader. And in the heavens, Mars has been what we call retrograde motion. Don't be confused by that. It's just a term. It's where it appears to be going backwards because of the differences of speeds between itself and Earth. And it's been doing that since April. So I don't know how you've been feeling since April. Some people have felt things have festered more. They've been off kilter, been stuck. In wisdom, it's been good to not push too much. Now, round about June the 29th, not very long ago, it moved direct in motion. And we should be feeling cleaner energy now, cleaner usage of power, perhaps more courage, and noticing how things are beginning to shift. But since I feel perhaps around about the middle of June to now, it's been, as we call it, moving in its cycle. That pendulum is starting to move, and it's actually held things a little bit in a stuck way. And this, of course, has coincided, I say of course, but it has coincided with the referendum and with the EU, which has been a big thing because its ramifications do spread worldwide. It's not just within Europe. And I think it's so important at this time where there's been quite a lot of fear associated with that, and tension and anger, that we do kind of unite at a higher, deeper level, this common sky again. And it's never been a better time for kindness to come forward, little acts of kindness. Reaching out to the bigger self of each person, not putting people into categories. Don't you agree, Marina? Hello? I'm not sure we're still on air at the moment. Are you there, Marina? I'll just continue talking anyway, and we'll see how that goes. I think in a way, it's like normal guidelines have taken a bit of a hike, and we have to connect with our own inner self much, much more, that own inner authority. And my job really is to help people, and you, my listener, to be in touch with that inner compass, to be in touch with that inner compass. And by being in touch with that inner compass, we grow up. Oh, what a lovely time it is for growing up. Don't we all want to do that? It's like a big step forward. And we do fear the unknown. We do fear the unknown. But the unknown is really just that part of us we haven't yet contacted. It's been out in the wings, waiting to come on stage. Not letting other people play that role for us, if you like, but using it ourselves. So yes, normal guidelines have taken a bit of a hike in our society. And because we're growing up, it's a bit scary. I much prefer the word scary to fear. Scary actually is okay. You know, you're alive. You know, when if you touch something hot, it's a warning not to do it again because it's going to burn you. And scariness is like a feeling of, okay, this is a little bit painful, but I'm going to get a new perspective. Fear is more deadening, it's more paralysis, it's more cold. And I do feel this time period we're in now, if we can avoid panic, if we can avoid tension, losing our center, that pivotal point, then this is a wonderful time for making some very big steps forward. Now, the planets at the moment are in some beautiful, beautiful placements in the sky. Yes, Saturn is giving us a kind of reality check. That's okay. But coming up in July, there's a beautiful, what we call a grand triangle of about 5 planets in what we call the water signs. And the water signs of the zodiac, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, are the in-breath. And this is a wonderful time to be more creative, to be more in responsive mode, to reflect, to contemplate. And again, I'd encourage you, my listener, to be open to those things. Be open to going with the tides and yet keeping that point of gravity within. It's a beautiful idea. I'm certainly going to try to work within. I'd like to help you as well to do that. So important. And I think with the fractures, if you like, that have come up, particularly in Europe at this present time, and of course we've got the elections in America, elections in Australia, many things going on. And because we are all one, the word universe, uni, means one. We are feeling it. We're getting much, much more sensitive. Our own individual birth charts can help us enormously based on our time, our full date of birth, our place of birth, the core coordinates, to know our own cycles and timing, to feel much more at home with our inner world. And again, that's my job, to put you in touch with that, because we all can go off kilter a little bit, off road, listen to other people's advice, and perhaps they mean well, but it's not totally right for ourselves. And the planets, in a way, never lie. The movements of the cycles, God's wanderers, never lie. They are messengers. And I'm so grateful to be doing this work and to be doing it for so long. So use this month of July for receiving more, being responsive, being more malleable, if you like, being able to be open to the inner world, open to the heavens. And if I can help in any way along that pathway of assistance, I would love to do that. So next week, when I'll be talking with you, my listener, I want to be talking more about the planets. I want to be talking more about how we are going forward in an authentic way, and how we can contact our inner timing, have access to that better, because we are all part of that bigger picture. We all have a unique sense of timing which works for us and wants to work with us. So that's what I'll be talking about next week. So thank you for sharing this with me, and I'll say goodbye for now.